Today, first order of business is approval of minutes.
I move we approval. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Um,
Motion carries.
Hey Jeff, could you turn the mics up, please?
Yours are on. Ours still on.
There it is.
There they go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
You turned it off.
Okay. Our first order of business is, Wayne, you have an introduction first. I'm sorry.
I do. I'd like to introduce one of our new planners, Buford King. He's been here about 3 months. Buford's got a long career in municipal and county government, and we're happy to have him. And he'll be presenting the two cases tonight. But Buford's one of our new planners, and again, been here about 3 months. And we're glad to have him. He's very qualified and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to us, which we're very fortunate to have. I want to appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome.
Welcome. Welcome. Good to have you.
Okay. Our first item is case number BOA 17.07. It's a public hearing to consider the request of Fairhope United Methodist Church for a special exception to allow a columbarium. The property is located at 155 South Section Street.
And Chairman and members of the board, the recommendation is to approve. A brief background of the item before you. A columbarium, and this is reflected in the staff recommendation, a columbarium is most similar to a cemetery, and that is an allowable use in this zoning classification. But the zoning classification requires that that type of use receive appeal to the Board of Adjustments. So our staff recommendation is for approval as an appropriate and allowable use for this location.
Thank you. I would like at this time for the applicant to make a presentation, if present. Clay, if you'll state your name and address for us, thanks.
My name is Clay Adams. I'm with Walcott Adams Purnell Architects. I live in Fairhope. Our firm is in Fairhope. I'm a member of First United Methodist Church also, and we've been doing the work there for probably the last 30 years. And there's been a master plan in the process. I think we're on our fourth part of that master plan. This hadn't been talked about for that long, but it's been in the works for about 5 years. And we did speak with Jonathan early on, as we do always with the city, to try to make sure we were following the rules and regulations of the city. But I'll be glad to answer any questions. And I have the first slide that comes up. I guess y'all are seeing what I see on the screen there is the master plan of the church entire property. Again, that master plan's been approved for some 20 years. Most of those pieces have been built except the big new sanctuary where you see the arrow coming down from Bancroft. But if you can see up in the top left corner, that's the columbarium design shown in that corner right there. And this is a large-scale plan of it. It nestles up against the current Shepherd's Place portion of the church that y'all may know about, that's a function of our church. It's off the face of Section Street, pulled back a little bit. It uses a portion of our beautiful front lawn that's important to be preserved. It's not a lot different than some of the ones we've done. It's going to have a beautiful brick wall with wrought iron gates. The walls will be about 6 feet tall. I'm not sure if y'all have this elevation, but lower than the scale of the 1.5-story building. It's going to have a fountain in it. We've nestled it around there to try to be quiet, as quiet of a spot as we have on our church, bordering two fairly busy streets in Fairhope, obviously, Section and Morphe. And we've studied the location, and the church is very excited about it. We have simple, very simple wall vaults, and the church is not interested in doing a scatter garden, so most everything's going to be in a wall vault, and there's a master plan to probably do only maybe 400 at this time. The brick is to match the church, and the black wrought iron and some of the imagery that's off the church with the Gothic, German Gothic kind of imagery of the church that we're maintaining. Are there any questions that are beyond that I could answer?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
This time, I'd like to open the meeting to public participation. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to ask questions. Okay, we'll close the public portion. I'll open it now to the board for any discussion.
I don't think so. We already have a couple of them in the city, so the fact that it's not in the code, maybe you ought to get it put in the code.
Right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve BOA 17.07.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What's that? Yeah, I approve.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Our second order of business is BOA 17.08. It's a public hearing to consider the request of Henry and Ann Davis for a variance to the rear yard setback requirements for the principal structure. The property is located at 612 North Mobile Street.
Thank you for allowing me to appear again. The subject property of this particular application, two of its property lines intersect at a very sharp angle, and the characteristic of the property, by virtue of its sharp angle with the two property lines coinciding, when the setbacks of the current zoning district are applied, it creates a severely restricted building area. So the application, and in your package, you'll notice there is an existing and proposed drawing showing the desired versus existing setback lines. What this will do is allow a much more reasonable and useful building area for the subject property. So therefore, it's staff's interpretation that the size and shape of the lot creates a hazard, or more appropriately, creates a hardship for the applicant. So therefore, the recommendation of staff is approved.
Thank you. I would like the applicant at this time to make a presentation.
I'm Trey Cordy, live at 101 Spring Park Drive here in Fairhope. The owner of the property is out of town, so I think she got with Emily and gave me the benefit of speaking for him. The only thing, let me ask you this is kind of at the last second. Pensacola Avenue is an unimproved street, and the other side of Pensacola Avenue is the huge gully. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but here's the subdivision, but it's a huge gully right through here. Since there's no street on Pensacola Avenue at the time, it's all woods, and then as you continue to the north, it's woods. Is there any way we can get that side setback at 10 feet rather than 20 feet?
I think that the advertised variance was for 20 feet, so if you want 10 feet, we'll have to go back and re-advertise again, otherwise we'd be deficient in our advertising of this variance, so, because you can't exceed what was advertised.
Well, and if we want to do that, is there any way to
I would suggest
get an opinion if it's worth doing it or not?
I would suggest if that's what you want to do, you ask for this application to be tabled and have it re-advertise next month for the 10 feet instead of the 20 feet. And we'd have to, obviously redo our staff report and review it
Well,
again.
then never mind, just forget that then. Just as.
I mean, it can be done, but.
As requested then. They want to go ahead and get this done. So just forget my comment there.
All right. Thank you. I'd like to open up the meeting to any public participation. Okay. I'd like to close the public participation, and we'll open it up to the,
There's a
oh, I'm
lady in
sorry.
the back that-
Hi.
Hi. My name is Patty Cater, and the address is 611 Pensacola Avenue.
Okay.
And I'm
Oh,
pretty,
Speak in the mic.
okay, great.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty much the only house on that street off of you come in on Seminole, and then it's Tinsall. And then my street is right there directly to the right, which is Pensacola Avenue. And the street dead ends at my house. So I'm a little bit confused about where exactly this all is and how it's going to impact my house and my plans for the house.
It shouldn't,
Does
it
anyone
should
know
not
that?
have any impact. The right-of-way is city property, which is Pensacola Avenue,
Okay?
so you're not giving up anything, or the house won't block any future roadway connection if that
Okay.
ever happens.
Is there some sort of master plan or something that I can see to look at other than this, like on paper perhaps? Because the street does come to my house.
Is your house the next triangular shape piece of property?
Yes, mine is a triangle-shaped property.
And it
So-
dead ends?
Yeah, sure, isn't it?
Okay. Right, so is this the Van Antwerp, this is something else altogether different?
Well,
Okay.
and to follow up to the nice lady's question, that was one of my questions, is there is a sign on this, are we approving a variance for a single-family home? Or what exactly are we approving? Because I went out and visited the property today, walked the property, and there's a sign out there that says Van Antwerp Park.
Right.
And so my question,
That's
what I'm
across the
trying
lake.
to, but it's on the parcel?
Oh,
No, Van Antwerp is this.
But it's on that parcel.
Yeah, and Chairman, Chairman and members of the board, that's an excellent question. I'm glad we get a chance to clarify it here. Just to reiterate, Pensacola Avenue is an unopened right-of-way, an existing city right-of-way, on the west end, or actually more the northwest end of Pensacola Avenue, is totally unopened and still forested. Portion of the east end of Pensacola Avenue is a gravel two-track road, which does access some properties. The subject property is not associated with the Van Antwerp project, which is pending. There is a potential planning and zoning case on the Van Antwerp property, but this is a completely different property. It appears that they are conjoined because of Pensacola Avenue being unopened.
So where is it? Is it on here in relation to my property?
So in relation to the Van.
The other side on Mobile Street?
That's correct. The Van
Okay.
Antwerp project would be northeast of the
Yes,
subject property.
yes, I see. Is it possible I could have a copy of this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So this is going to be essentially behind me, it looks like.
It would be generally northwest of you, this subject property. So they're requesting.
Because see, I'm
this-
right here,
Okay.
and the driveway comes essentially right over this way. I'm not sure about how, is that, yeah, that's Pensacola Avenue. But it dead ends at my house.
Correct.
So I'm a little confused about
So
the
this
street
section.
itself.
This section is unopened, still
Right,
forested. But
right.
but the right-of-way does continue all the way to the northwest, intersecting with Mobile Street.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not real clear about where it will, in that the street ends at my house, where does it divert to the away from my house.
Well, we'd have to have a
Wrong
ground
end.
survey to know that exactly.
Okay, so at what point will I know that?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that probably at some point the applicant may produce a survey, a boundary survey of the property, which would mark everything.
Okay. And how can I find that out, or when will it be? Will it be another public forum, or what? Will
Well,
we have done?
this is strictly for a setback variance. If there are any future, if there are any future requests for that property, it will certainly become.
Notified as I was
Yes,
this
ma'am. If
time?
there's any future uses of the property that require action by this or the Planning and Zoning Commission, it absolutely is advertised, and you would receive the same notification.
If
Or
I could
I
add-
can come to the, excuse me.
And if I could add to the Van Antwerp property, there'll be a separate public hearing for that in front of the planning commission. So that's, again, it's not a part of tonight's meeting, and it's separate from this completely, but for those who are concerned, there will be another public hearing for that property. So, this would not
So
go with the planning commission.
That is not the property that we're referring to on Mobile Street?
No, the property tonight is not associated with the Van Antwerp property.
Okay, okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So then, could I have a copy of
Sure.
that, perhaps?
Sure.
Maybe that'll clarify
Yes,
it
ma'am.
for me.
See me after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay,
all.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to close the public portion and open the staff portion of it.
I was wondering if the property owner of the triangle lot also owns the lot, the 66-foot lot next door? Yes. On Mobile Street, the same owner?
Yes, currently there is a house that sits on the 66.3-foot lot, and it just sticks over into the triangle lot like 5 feet. Their intentions are they're going to tear that house down and build 2 houses is basically what's happening. But it was part of the subdivision. It's already 2 subdivided lots. So if you go out there, there is a house out there right now, but that's going to be gone.
So the green portion and the orange portion are 2 separate lots that you're referring to? Well, right there.
No, the green is not the owner's property.
That's what I was talking
No,
about.
oh, okay. The green on that is not the owner's property. That's a duplex. I think that's just a different zoning.
That's correct. The green parcel is one parcel of a different zoning classification. So it stands out. That's just how it's printed when we extract this photo from our zoning map. But that parcel is unrelated to this application.
Okay.
So where is the property that he said they also own?
This lot.
Well, that's this one.
Well, no, it's not. This is showing that as one.
Oh, as one lot. Okay, I've got it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right there, it's the division.
So the part he's talking about is the red and, is the
All
triangle.
red.
That's
It's
all
2
red.
lots.
Okay.
Got it.
And what are they gonna build on this?
House. I'd like to have a motion.
I'll make motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Do we have any old or new business?
We will have a meeting next month. I have 2 cases.
August 21st.
And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So
I s-
moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.